everybody, it's Deborah from PeopleLovingAnimals.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, watching the video today. Today we're going to talk about some of the common mistakes that pet owners make that they don't even realize that they're making. Whether you've got a dog, a cat, or even a tiny hamster, we're covering the things you should watch out for to keep your furry friend happy, healthy, and safe. Let's get into it. Number one. All right, mistake number one, and this one is a biggie. Keeping regular vet checkups. I get it. Vet visits aren't exactly fun and they can be expensive, but regular checkups help catch problems before they become serious. A lot of people only go when something's wrong, but by then it could be a bigger issue. Think of it like your pet's version of a yearly physical. Even indoor cats need them. So even if your pet seems healthy, make it a habit to see the vet at least once a year, twice for older pets. Mistake number two is feeding mistakes. This one is surprisingly common. First, giving your pet human food. I know those puppy dog eyes are hard to resist, but a lot of human food can be dangerous. Chocolate, grapes, onions, even too much cheese can be bad news. I will link my video in the description box that talks about a list of foods that can be toxic for dogs and cats if you would like to watch that one as well. Another mistake is overfeeding. We all love to treat our pets, but overfeeding leads to obesity, which causes tons of health issues. Follow the feeding guidelines on your pet food label and talk to your veterinarian about portion size if you're unsure. If your dog currently has a weight problem, which is quite common, I have a video that has some pretty helpful tips on how to help your dog to lose weight in a way that's healthy and safe for them. I think that you will like that. And your dog won't suffer too much if you're using those tips to help your dog to lose weight. Mistake number three is not enough exercise. Not giving your pet enough exercise it can be just as bad for your pets as it can be for people. Dogs need walks, cats need playtime, even smaller pets like rabbits need time out of their cages to stretch and explore. When pets don't get enough physical and mental stimulation, they can get bored, and bored pets can get destructive or even depressed. So daily walks, toys, games, make it part of your routine. It's great bonding time too. Mistake number four is skipping training and socialization. This is not just simple things like teaching your dog how to, sit or lay down or bark, or teaching your cat to, fetch or sit up straight or something like that. It really is more serious than that. One of the biggest mistakes new pet owners make is not socializing or training their pets early. Dogs especially need to learn how to behave around people, other animals, and in different environments. Without training, you could end up with behavioral issues down the line like barking, aggression, or separation anxiety. Positive reinforcement goes a long way, and consistency is key. I have a whole playlist for dog training, a playlist for puppy training, and I also have a playlist on this channel for cat training. So if you feel like you have some behavioral issues with your pet, you might very well find a video in those playlists that addresses it for you. Or if you're just looking for recommendations on, good dog or cat training, you'll find those in the playlist on this channel as well. Also, always feel free to comment below my videos if you have a question. If I can answer it for you, I certainly will. Mistake number five is neglecting dental care. Here's, this is something that a lot of people forget. And yes, your pet's teeth matter. My current cat, Whiskers, I'm very surprised to find is struggling with gingivitis. In just about a month or so, he's only going to be 4 years old. And 2 years ago, at his second year vet visit, the vet mentioned that he had gingivitis and he was having, plaque accumulating on his teeth. And I said, he's only 2 years old. I don't know. I was just surprised by it. So she suggested giving him dental treats, which I did. And then last year, which would have been his third vet visit, he goes annually. She mentioned that it was still a problem, and she said to continue with the dental treats. I asked her if, like dental chews would help, and she thought that they would. So I decided to go ahead and get him some additional dental chews along with his dental treats. And then when he goes back for the next one, she said if we can't get a handle on this, he'll have to have his teeth professionally cleaned. I don't know if it'll be every year, every 2 years, I don't know. Now, I don't like that idea because it's expensive. Also, they have to put a pet under to, to clean their teeth. They have to be, put under with anesthesia. So I don't really like that idea. But I'm just saying this is something that I'm currently dealing with, that, it's important. So regarding dental care, bad breath isn't just gross. It can mean dental disease, which can lead to bigger health problems like infections and even heart issues. Brush your pet's teeth if you can, or use dental treats or toys designed to help them clean their teeth. And yes, your vet can clean their teeth too. I was going to say, I don't really know what health issues can come about because of tooth decay, gingivitis, that sort of thing. But I'm guessing it's a lot of the same kind of stuff that we as humans would have if we were not keeping our teeth clean. I have a girlfriend, by the way, who had a husky, and she trained that dog to stand up at the bathroom sink and sit there and tolerate getting his teeth brushed every day. She was a mother. She had a little boy. So, you teach your kid to, you come up to the sink, you teach them, you brush their teeth, you teach them to spit. She did it with the husky. And every day of the dog's life that she owned him, she brushed the dog's teeth. I don't know. That just cracks me up so much. But, it can be done. The sixth mistake is not pet-proofing your home. This is another easy to miss mistake. And not only for new pet owners, for experienced pet owners. From time to time, I'll spot something in my house and I'm like, geez, I didn't even think of that. My cat Whiskers, really should be around that. Sometimes, I don't know, we're just like living our lives and, we're just not focused on that all the time. So I think sometimes we have things going on in our house that we just don't realize, might be dangerous for our pet. It is kind of like baby proofing, but just for pets. That means keeping cleaning products, wires, small objects, and toxic plants out of reach. Even things like string, hair ties, and certain foods left on counters can be dangerous if swallowed. Pets are curious, so make sure your space is safe for them. I know someone who I recently visited her home, and she has a little dog, and it was in February around Valentine's Day, so she had, some decorations out and stuff, and she put out a dish of Hershey's Kisses, like for company. Well, that's real great, but chocolate is terribly toxic for dogs. So I was like, you really shouldn't have that out where the dog can reach it because, the dog will eat it and, have really bad consequences. So, a harmless dish of candy that, she put out for a holiday, sometimes we just don't think of that stuff, So just take a look around your house periodically and just make sure that there aren't hazards around for your pets, especially if you have a young pet like a cat or a kitten. You really got to watch out for them. Mistake number 7 is forgetting that pets have feelings too. This is the last mistake we're going to talk about, but it's definitely not the least, and that's forgetting that your pets have emotions. They have feelings. They get lonely, anxious, scared, excited, and bored, just like us. Leaving a dog alone for 12 hours a day without any interaction, that's just really tough on them. Make time for cuddles, play, and communication. Learn to read your pet's body language. Being a good pet owner means tuning into their emotional needs. My cat Whiskers, I discovered one of his favorite things in life is when mommy gets on the floor with him. And he's a young cat. He's just a month or so as of the date of this video of being 4 years old. So, he's still fairly young. So, he needs lots of toys and playtime and, that sort of thing. But I find that if he won't settle down, he's just like begging me to play or he's meowing or whatever. If I just get on the floor with him for not even 10 minutes, just get on the floor. Sometimes I'll brush him or sometimes I'll just, sit on the floor and pet him. He gets so happy and it only takes 5 or 10 minutes. And once he's had that kind of dedicated mommy time, he will settle right down. And I can't help but think about that. Reminds me when I was a kid. I have a brother and a sister, and I remember when we were kids, if mom or dad got on the floor with us, it was a big deal. I don't know. Comment below at the video if you feel the same way about this. When we were kids, our dad would get on the living room floor with us and wrestle. Like he taught us to wrestle. He would pick us up, twist us around. He just got on the floor and wrestled with us. And, it was just a few minutes, but it was so fun. And as soon as he got on the floor, we got excited. And then I remember my mom, she would lay on the living room floor with us and color. We'd get out the coloring books and crayons and, we would just lay on the floor next to mom and we would color. And, it didn't take an enormous amount of time, but I think the pets feel the same. I think when I get on the floor with Whiskers, he's just, yay, mommy's on the floor with me. I don't know what it is. Just somehow when you get down on the floor with your pet, when you get down to their level, just 5 or 10 minutes, it can just mean so much for them. And it can go a long way for you in, keeping tabs on their behavioral issues and depression and loneliness or boredom or separation anxiety. I think it's just really good for our pets. And I also think that, quality time with your pet is good for you. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your physical health. It's good for just a peaceful, happy home. It's just good all the way around. So I really hope that these tips have helped you to really just take a look around and say, what kind of mistakes am I making with my pet? And while we're talking about this, I hope you've gotten some good tips to just make your pet happier and to be a better pet owner. Again, thanks so much for watching. My name is Deborah, and I'm from peoplelovinganimals.com. Thanks again. Bye-bye.